Well, it's a circuit that brings absolutely everything to the table and then some. There are not many places in the world where you can say, right, this is one of the definitive great circuits in the world. This one went to the table, put its chips down and said, well, if I'm all in, everyone else just doesn't have enough budget to hang. Welcome to Suzuka and the fourth round of your Grand Prix Legend Series for 2026 Season 3. My name's Jake Sperry, and alongside with me for today's action is Nico Hillebrand. You've got Daniel Costello in the director's chair, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. So, let's put ourselves into position, because this is a circuit that has seen it all, that has done it all. It's written the book on what amazing circuits are. If you haven't seen what makes this circuit one of the best in the world, well, you're in the perfect place to find out what you need with your GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Suzuka Circuit, perhaps most famous for its hosting of the Formula One Japanese Grand Prix for much of the event's history. This track sees all sorts of racing besides that. In fact, this place began as a test track for Honda, but later proved to be a driver and fan favorite for competitive motorsports as well. The full layout of the Grand Prix course steals the show, but there's actually 5 different versions that can be run on iRacing. With their lap lengths ranging from just over 2 kilometers to nearly 6 kilometers, plenty of different types of cars can suit the track. GT racing and lower-level open-wheelers are quite popular, but motorcycles are also a staple here. Some of the corners have become world-renowned over the years. The S's are often cited as one of the great tests of a driver's technical prowess. Then, of course, there's Degner's 1 and 2, which provide very little runoff considering their fast and narrow entry. Later on, the long backstretch leads up to the notorious 130R, which is blindingly fast. The Casio Triangle offers one last chance at an overtake if you're brave, but has been the scene of many drivers clattering into one another over the years. F1 fans will be quick to cite the infamous coming together here between Senna and Prost. However, real-life visitors will find it's more than the racing that provides some viewing pleasures. The unique ways in which the Japanese fans celebrate their favorite cars and drivers certainly capture your attention. But it's no wonder they're such fanatics, because who wouldn't be with one of the world's greatest tracks right in your backyard?
Well, it's going to be a circuit of all circuits. It's going to be a battle of all battles, but it is a circuit that tests every single aspect, Nico, of what a car is all about.
Pretty much. I mean, it was designed by John Hugenholtz, the same man that designed the iconic Zandvoort circuit. He got a telegram in 1961 just out of the blue. I'm building a circuit, please come to Tokyo, Soichiro Honda. And that's how this circuit basically started its history. Opened in September 1962, 5.8 kilometers, and of course, very beloved by racing fans around the world. And quite frankly, what can you not love about this? It has elevation changes, it has fast corners, it has slow corners, it has medium speed, on camber, off camber. It truly has everything.
It is a masterpiece of a circuit. The 17 turns have written a lot of racing history, including a lot of Formula history, as we pilot around in the Lotus 49. So, let's walk ourselves in today to championship spec. I know that we're only at the 1/3 end of the season after today, but already it is an interesting prospect to go and talk about. So, we'll keep a close eye on what this championship will bring over the course of the season, both for the F1 standings and the F2 standings that are going to be available for the racing action that we have. So we are going to be there and just keeping an eye on that as we go through. We'll run through that a little bit later on, but Nico, let's talk about what we've got to battle with here today and the challenges that are available with the number of laps set here at this stage of the season.
16 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but consider again that this lap is almost 6 kilometers long. You don't have downforce, you don't have driving aids, you have a manual gearbox and over 400 horsepower in a 500 kilo car, and you get a very, very difficult situation ahead. The drivers are rewarded with open setups so they can tune it completely to their liking, which can also lead to compromises having to be made. There's no spare car, so any mistake around this twisty but incredibly fast circuit will be the end, unfortunately, I think. And yeah, finally, drive-throughs come at 17x, disqualifications come at 25x, but I'd wager to guess, Jake, that we will not reach those sort of levels, because if you go off the track here, usually, then in this car it is quite fast, so I don't think you have to worry about any drive-throughs or anything.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be in a position where this is going to be a day where I expect drivers to be out of position, struggling to go and get what they want from it. I think this is going to be one where you're going to take it by the scruff of the neck and you're going to go and get everything that you possibly can. So it's going to be one of these championships here. We've got 5 minutes remaining in qualifying. They get the 8 minutes to set a qualifying lap with the 2 laps available in. F1 standings, I'll just run through them right now for you. Togo Hesada at his home race, championship leader by 5 points over Kevin Verbruggen. Kyle Ridley with a career best championship right now in 3rd, ahead of Laust Olsen and Pedro Temiladri. Then on 135, 127, 123, Mikel Cotasalo currently 6th on 121. Then it's Mikel Sabala on 117. Nicola Cocchi on 103, but it's only had 2 starts. Same for Jorge Nieva on 101. And then Tomasz Tuba 10th on 98. In the F2 standings right now, Renato Yankee in control on 89 points, just 1 point ahead of Thomas Sonny Sinner, and Alan Graham 1 point back of that as well on 87. You've got Sergei Borodkin on 78 with Andres Bruno on 62, David Mulligan on 61, Tobias Hernby 58, Max Linden 8th on 52, David Miller 17 on 51 points, and then Matthew Raymond on just 1 start on 40 points available. Nations Cup, Japan on top of the Netherlands by 5, with Australia 3rd, Denmark 4th, and Argentina 5th. It's then Finland and the United States, Spain, UAE, and the United Kingdom making up your top 10. But the charge going to come to the line then for Togo Hesada on a 2:07.6. He absolutely wants this time to be as good as he possibly can. Well, he's got himself almost 4/10 of a second to say that's job well done so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wonderful to see Hesada at pretty much his home circuit for the season, in a Honda liveried car at a circuit that was, obviously created by Honda. And yeah, I mean, he, Verbruggen, and Nieva, for example, come into mind from last week at Stennedan. That was an insane race to watch, and Hesada fighting for the lead battle until pretty much the last lap or second to last lap, when there was a slight mistake, and he was able to recover it a little bit. But hopefully this time around we don't get any interruptions. Nieva, you see that slip angle through 130R now into the Astemo chicane, and yeah, I mean, it's honestly insane when you see with this modern circuit, with this car taking this much curb everywhere.
Oh, it's aggressive from Jorge Nieva, and with good reason, because that is a 2:07.4 and goes to the top by 0.2 of a second. Mega in terms of what lap time is. There is a black flag attached to Angel Granda at this moment in time. So Granda is running about, hasn't reset the car to go back again, and so he's not going to get a time in qualifying because of the black flag attached to the name. It will just automatically wipe that out. Gary Ho has 1 lap down on the board, so will not be able to go out and get another one, will the man from Hong Kong, moving to gain exactly what he needs. So Togo Hesada here is currently going to need a riposte at this moment. So too will Kevin Verbruggen right now, here at 0.4 of a second back. Just 27 cars today. I know that there is Spa 24 on, which is going to be knocking the numbers down a little bit, but Togo looking to pogo up to the top, does a 7.5 and doesn't quite find the improvement. Also a 7.5 from Verbruggen, but again, another driver who can't quite get enough out of it.
My God, these guys once again so close at each other. Nieva at Dennedan actually got hit off at pretty much turn 1 or turn 2 of the race. Fell back all the way down the order and then worked his way back up, I think regaining 15 to 16 places. This time around, he's going to be hoping for a very much better starting spot. No contact at the start, and with this kind of pace, I think we're in for another absolutely stunning battle today.
Well, Nieva now has himself the lap of honour to bring himself around. Carl Ridley currently 4th, and Gary Ho then in 5th. Temaladri jumping up to 6th in qualifying will always be big in terms of that result as we focus with Nieva. Look, he's still pushing. Look at how the nose sits down on the brakes into the Astamo chicane. Just looking around at this going, okay, I'm still going to give it my 10/10, and into the pits, couldn't improve on that second laps attempt, so it is going to stay as you were with them at this point in time, and so the field now is going to stack ready here at Suzuka. So let's get a little look then at where everyone is going from. Jorge Nieva has not had a win yet this season. He is someone who is due a championship in my book. 9th in the championship coming into today. And critically, as far as he is getting on with business, a time of 207.472 more than gets the job done. Togo Hisada 2nd, Kevin Verbruggen then in 3rd. Carl Ridley goes from 4th, with 5th belonging to Gary Ho, and then Pedro Temaladri, Zach Barton, and Laust Olsen making up your top 8.
Followed by them to complete the top 10, John Olsen and Marco Nurmela, quite close together as well. Then next up, we've got Josephine Becker and Thomas Sonisina in row 6. Row 7 is joined by Michael Grisinger and Robert Plumley, and row 8 is filled with Cam Porter and Ryan Turcotte.
17th will belong to Alan Graham, the Australian, with David Mulligan for company. It's then Diego Schneider and Campbell Wallace as Jake Thomas and Kurt Clapper are on row 11. James Andrews, first time in the car, then is 23rd at 10.5 seconds off the pace. David Provins at 14 seconds, and then 3 didn't set a time. 2 Swedes in Tobias Hernvey and Mats Linden, and then the black flag for Angel Granda, ultimately meaning he will have to start this one in the number 24 car from the back of the field due to iRacing. Now, iRating. So, track temperature, an important thing to talk about getting into this race. It is a very, very hot 49 degrees Celsius out there, which means that it is going to be understeer central here in Mie Prefecture, Japan. It's a downhill run to turn number 1, and you have got to be absolutely switched on with the first couple of corners at what you have to be able to get out of it. Drivers now looking to get themselves ready, as they know that the engine notes are going to start to rise here at Suzuka. 16 laps. Let's get them started and let's get ourselves underway. Togo Hisada has had an absolute monster getaway then off of the get-go as they go into turn number 1. Nieva trying to sweep it back around the outside, clean through the opening 5-6 cars as they work themselves in to the first corner and turn 2 here for the first time. It gets a little dicey on the exit back there in the middle with Nurmela and John Olsen, but single file they go to the first 7 or 8.
Very good start from Hisada. Verbruggen behind them looked to make a move in the middle of the first corner, but couldn't quite get past Nieva. Nieva had to settle into second, I think hesitantly, but not leaving the door open to Verbruggen as well, because, if you have to lose 1 place or 2 places, obviously you're going to choose only 1 place.
Absolutely, and that's what we see. Nieva only dropping 1 position, but now can settle into the rhythm and find a way back in this race, pushing hard over the Degner curves and up the hill now to the Nissan brake hairpin here. This left-hander, otherwise known in more modern circles here as Kobayashi corner.
Coming out of the hairpin for the first time, you still see as they're going into 130R here. Oh, sorry, not 130R, 200R. The wrong number before the R. All the cars still exiting out of the hairpin, and this entire stretch here, so the entire run from the hairpin down to the final chicane, it's all pretty much unchanged since its construction. The chicane actually just interrupts what would have been just a normal fast last corner, so pretty much imagine back in the day if they had had F1 races here. In these cars, for example, obviously you'd have to brake for 130R as they're coming in here now. Gary Ho trying to defend very, very hard from Barton behind him. Barton looking to the outside, but not quite in a position to make a move yet. Yeah, this chicane here, maybe just a dab on the brakes as they go through the last corner back in the day. And carrying a lot more speed in the first corner, and this is one of those situations where I can understand, yeah, this is probably better that this chicane is here nowadays.
Oh, look at the way they move across the front stretch there through Hisada, Nieva, Verbruggen, Ridley with Barton into the opening corner, really fighting in through turn 1 and then into turn 2. Just a case of hold your ground. You're not really going to get too much from it, and these aren't overtaking opportunities here through these SS sections here. You've got to work hard through here, and they've each got a slightly different profile. Climb the rise here through turn 5. Over the top of the Gyaku bank here. Reverse bank corner, like a camber, down the hill, up the hill the other side again through the valley, and you're at the plateau of the Nippo corner, which extends yourself out to the two jutting rights of the middle sector of the Degners.
Used to be a one flowing corner as well. Slowed that down a little bit as well into those two corners. And Torre Nieva looking very, very close now out of Degner 2. Is he looking for the inside? Hisada blocks it off slightly. Both of them approach from the middle, but now look at that. Nieva gets the car rotated a little bit better in the hairpin. Looking for the outside of 200R now. And Hisada, my goodness, actually grabbing a little bit of grass on the inside. And now Verbruggen is all over the back of Nieva as well. Nieva had to lift off a little bit there. Obviously, you don't have that much mechanical grip comparatively to modern cars here with these cars.
No, and Togo, to counteract that, goes very, very loose in terms of his setup. He drives it on a knife's edge, and Jorge Nieva, maybe a little bit more stable, is going to be looking at this going, okay, this is going to be a much tougher job than I first initially thought to go and get the pass. You have to really jam it on the brakes here at 130R, which actually does rob away a little bit more this overtaking opportunity into the right, left, right, then on the Astamo chicane. So it makes life tougher, but I tell you what, Verbruggen's not letting this one go. He is nipping at the heels here of Jorge Nieva. Wants to get a run down along this main straight. They all pull over to the right-hand side. 4 clear. Carl Ridley with the fastest lap on the back of the train as they work 2.5 seconds clear of Temaladri. Into turn 1, there's going to be no changes, but Togo Hisada knows the more he has to defend, the more that drives behind want to attack.
And that's the difficult battle for Jorge Nieva right now. Similar battle that Ryan Turcotte is finding himself in. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 car battle. Just at the edge of the top 10, or just a little bit further behind. So that would be 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And all of them, obviously, with slightly staggering lines up the S's, up the hills here. All of this used to be rice paddies. And, yeah, John Hugenholtz basically given a blank check of, okay, I have this land. Tell me how I can build a great racetrack here, and I'll make it work with the local farmers. That's Suichiro Honda, and what a racetrack it has become.
It has. Originally, there was thoughts to put 3, I would say, figure-8 sections on the circuit. They acquiesced with only 1 at the end and worked with it. Turcotte here in this lovely group here of 6 trying to hold whilst Grissinger holding the margin here over Plumley, Turcotte, Porter, Graham. Diego Schneider is there on the back of it as well. And then the group behind also battles hard right now with Campbell Wallace, Kurt Clapper, David Mulligan, Tobias Hernby, Mats Linden. They're all there. They've all managed to work a good start to this race. No retirees through the first 3 laps. Turcotte with a big send to the inside, gets it sideways. Had to open out the steering there because that could have been disaster in a heartbeat for Robert Plumley, who can stamp down earlier on the power on the outside. Look at it, fishtail there from Ryan Turcotte. You can't drive it out the corner like a regular Formula car. It's just not going to respond to you like that. Here comes the drive. Slipstream helping on the outside with Porter and Graham and everyone helping. Outside of 130R is not going to work in a 49. Thank you, says Cam. That's a freebie.
Plumley has to go defensive as well now. On the outside, that is...
One for the lead.
And
here we go.
As well.
Inside. Inside. Nieva's not giving this one up. Wants to try and make this one work. Togo holding the outside a dream and saying, not like that. You're going to have to try a bit harder there, Nico.
Unbelievable. He held that somehow. I think Nieva just slightly touched a bit too much of that curb. You get off camber, lose a little bit of grip. But Nieva definitely showing, hey, buddy, you may have taken me around here for lap 1. It's not done yet, and I'm here to get that win.
Zach Barton dropping 2 places then at turn 1. Reason why, he had a massive slide through the opening corner, ran wide, and all the troubles in the world put themselves into play. Kurt Clapper having a good old look at things as well, coming over the Gyaku bank and out the other side. I'll tell you what, we're going to have to stay with the race lead here because Jorge Nieva is all over Togo Hysada right now. Forces an angle to the inside now here at the Nissan Brake hairpin, but didn't have the confidence to hold that side-by-side through the right-hander. Has got the clearance, but he suffers a little bit trying to get it through the gears. So Hysada now gets the side-by-side, runs it right on tight, as if he's got a Honda motorcycle rather than a Lotus 49 underneath him. And again, he holds the mark, defends the line, going into Spoon, but he's run it deep on the brakes, and that's the chance that was waited for there by Jorge Nieva, who will now throw the block and get the pass, and here comes Verbruggen.
And this is the difficult part. If you keep pushing with these track temperatures, 41 degrees Celsius, it did cool down a little bit compared to the start because we did get a little bit of overcast, but my goodness, now again, we're counter again. My God, when will they stop fighting? Now we have a 4-way battle. Ridley looking to the inside as well, just thinking better of it for now, but that's only a thing here for now.
Oh, here goes Verbruggen. He tries to lunge to the inside. It doesn't quite work. And now they're going to be Noah's Ark 2 by 2 as they make the run to the stripe as they crossed it. It was 9 thousandths in favour of Togo Hysada, but he's on the wrong side of it right now into turn 1. How brave is he going to be on the brakes, sweeping again for the outside line? Another lunge to the inside by Nieva, who wants to get this move. Come what may, they're going to have to go side by side through the S's now. This is stellar between them here. Nieva holding it too much over the curb though. Hysada can now take advantage here into turn 5. Gyaku bank comes along. Nieva now's going to have to go defensive here in the off-camber turn 5 here, but ultimately holds his mark. Wow, this is stuff of dreams. This is what you wake up and go, I want a race like this, and I want it to mean something, and it means the world.
I was halfway sure you were going to pass out there. Jesus Christ, and who could blame you? They're just completely taking half the track, completely side by side. Insanity here in Suzuka. And Nieva has to stick back again for now, but Hysada, this is always this fight between the two of them. Nieva takes the inside, has a little bit less distance to cover, of course. Gets it rotated here, but Hysada can take a little bit more of a roundabout way, takes a little bit more of the camber on the outside of the corner, and can accelerate a little bit more straight. Once again, though, Nieva closing that gap. You see that gap go down a little bit. Oh, actually, Nieva taking a little bit too much curb, I think, there now. But, my God, what a battle for first place here.
It's incredible, and I turn around to them and say, lads, I've got 8 hours of more commentary to do today. Please don't kill me off in the first 15 minutes of everything that we've got going on. They are giving it absolutely everything. Temaladri has dropped back to this second group now, which holds Olsen, Ho, Nurmela, Becker. They're now trying to figure out, well, okay, well, how do we get a top 5 out of this as they go to the Astamo chicane? No looks from anybody in the group. They're now going to settle down for a little bit, find rhythm, maybe potentially cool the tyres off a little bit, the surface temperature, to go and get them to go attack again. That might be something that they consider doing here after they've had 2 very hard laps of battling, to just go, right, let's dial it back a bit and then re-engage a little bit later on. Ryan Turcotte turned around.
Very bad luck for him, and that's the 23 behind. That's Campbell Wallace. So something must have happened there. I think that might have been that they were all in that bigger group. So overcooked it. I'm wondering if that was connected together in that group fight. Maybe just out braking, maybe having to avoid. And it's completely separate. So I mean, sometimes it can also happen that you're looking at the front, you're seeing, oh, he's spinning up. Well, I'm spinning now as well.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to get a replay of it because Cam Porter ends up with nowhere to go in the incident, and I think he's very unlucky to have seen the likes of Ryan Turcotte in front of him. Nurmela really trying to attack the Glacier Racing number 6 to get by Gary Ho here. Gary right now in the Taco Bell machine is saying, right, well, what happens after a Taco Bell? At the moment, this pass is clogged up, and that's why, bang, 1, 2, 3, all get involved.
That's the big one there. through the hairpin. We don't have a traffic jam as of yet there, so everyone can somewhat keep going. Got a quick replay band. Oh my goodness. Yeah, a big lock up there. Gets around, gets hit wheel-on-wheel contact, and my God, that he was able to keep driving after that. That is an absolute miracle.
Yeah, landed on his feet, did Ryan Turcotte. Lucky to do so, because he could have had a headache, and then Campbell Wallace outbroke himself and basically slid through the chicane. So not much more that could be done about that. Now keep an eye on Carl Ridley in this group, because he's suddenly dangling at about 8-9 tenths of a second. If he gets dropped the second here, that's going to be him out of this battle for the race lead. Hysada, Nieva, Verbruggen, these three, you'd argue, are going out there for the title. Verbruggen 5 points behind Togo Hysada as Nieva sets the fastest lap. As far as the championship goes, Hysada's got 2 wins to Verbruggen's 1. Verbruggen took that last time out at Lebanon, as it's going to be Verbruggen now looking to attack but not finding the line. Then at turn 1, so they are going to have to stay as they are, working through the S's once again, and we're nearing that halfway stage. Marco Nurmela in the pits with the black and orange mechanical flag, what we call here colloquially as the meatball.
Yeah, the meatball, of course, very dreaded in this car. Have to pit, have to repair the car. Gonna lose a lot of time around here, especially with how much speed you can carry down the front straight and how excruciatingly slow the pit lane is compared to that. Meanwhile, Jorge Nieva, Kyle Ridley, all of these guys still in the chase. Kyle Ridley holding a little bit of distance, so maybe not able to go quite the same peak pace. Nieva looking for the inside with the right-hand pink before the hairpin. But Verbruggen looks okay, maybe I can put it down the inside. Things better a bit for now, but Nieva, Hysada, Verbruggen, that is that top 3 battle that has been keeping us on our toes for almost half of the race already, and actually grabbing grass outside. Can you believe that?
Well, he very nearly had that air intake there, Nico, right up that left rear tyre, did Jorge Nieva. That shows you how hard he's trying to push. He's trying to get all of this sorted. He is pushing with everything he's got and then some to find this move, but Hysada has the virtual 2/10 advantage of being at a Japanese track as a Japanese driver. He knows this inside and out. He's probably figured out every defensive pivot that he possibly can. He lisks over, he leaves 1 car width on the outside. It's very clever defending here by Hysada. Fair but aggressive defending that covers off the line and says, you ain't gonna get by me as easy as you think you are. And now it's gonna have to take another look here onto lap 8 to go and get it done. We've got more retirements here. James Andrews a retiree as Nieva thought about side-by-side, backs out of it. Nurmela, of course, down in the pits with Ryan Turcotte. So Togo Hysada covers for the moment. Do want to take a little moment here, though, to talk F2 Championship, which currently in this race being led by Thomas Sonny Sinner in 11th place. He's a very young driver. I don't think he's anything more than 13, 14 years of age, is Thomas. So he's having a really, really great run at this stage on his own.
Yeah, and, you don't need to be constantly fighting too wide everywhere. The biggest importance here is consistency, and Sinner definitely running a very, very good and consistent race here at the moment. Not that far off from the top 10 either. That's about 3 seconds to Barton ahead of him and Olsen ahead of that guy. So, yeah, Josephine Becker in 7th, leading that group of 4. So if those guys start fighting, there might even be a top 10 in for the F2 driver.
Cam Porter we look with right now as he looks to focus on catching Michael Grissinger just in front. That was a spin behind. That was Diego Schneider, who's gone around and has done so through Nipo. He's going to get himself back up to speed again, and ultimately is going to cost him about 2 or 3 positions there. So tough for Diego Schneider to deal with. And now to the outside of Spoon. Are you mad? Are you mad, Jorge Nieva? Trying to go and get this one done. This is not the sort of move that you sit by and say, look, I'm going to have absolutely everything, every tool of the trade to go and get this done. Nieva is proven that he's got every way to go and get the pass. He's going to have to go and fight on a tightrope over to 130R. He'll have to go the long way again, get the power down earlier on the exit, which he does, but I don't think he's got enough for the overlap here. So again, Togo Hysada covers the inside line. Now just needs a good run here through the second part of the Astamo. And again, got it covered. This is really a tough game of chess. This is like seeing, for example, Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja go out there and battle on the chessboard.
It's just this constant back and forth. Kyle Ridley actually now starting to find into his rhythm as well. With new fastest lap there, absolutely incredible, closing the gap to Verbruggen. And I think the difficulty for Nieves at the moment, he can't quite finish the move decisively. He starts the move, gets alongside, Hisada has to defend, both of them slow down, Verbruggen is pushing from behind, but finishing that move without a successful counter from Hisada, that's where it's still really, really tricky for him at the moment.
Yeah, so if you're going to find that end game result of getting a pass, I think you're understanding why this circuit is difficult. It is oddly technical in terms of the way it goes about. It's a flow state circuit too, and you want downforce around here. The one thing that wasn't invented at the time in 1967 when Jim Clark piloted this to the last of his championships in the world of Formula One. So, into Degner 1 goes Josephine Becker in the Totoro Racing machine here with Gary Ho, John Olsen, Zach Barton, all very dependable, very capable drivers behind who know not to risk their race, and that's the key here. Gary Ho's been involved in an incident already. Guys like Zach and John, they don't risk races, they go for the safe, tried and tested move.
And that's I think a bit of a counterintuitive name, you know, safe, tried and tested. Everything is safe, tried and tested until you start going sideways, and with this car that's in every corner. So you have to try and keep it as under control as possible, but if you're driving fully under control, as we have them here through 130R, nose to tail, all of them once again, I think that you're still not pushing quite close enough. Look at that, they're just skidding from side to side in the braking zone past each other. That's not moving under braking, that's, well, moving while trying to brake.
It was just crabbing sideways there from Kevin Verbruggen, and there is, of course, the old meme that everything in the world of evolution eventually evolves into a crab. Well, Kevin Verbruggen's getting that in early, the way he had to hit the brakes and stop Jorge Nieva, or from running into the back of Jorge Nieva out there. Togo Hisada, resolute at the front of this field, and he is just looking at everybody saying, come on, come find the pass, because he's not getting enough here to break away, so he's leaving himself in that fight. And I wonder whether for Jorge Nieva, this is a case of him just saving his best moves for when he needs them the most in the final couple laps.
And that's the big question, you know. He started some attacks already and putting some stress on the tires in these temperatures that can make or break the race later on. And look at that, he's entering a lot more narrow, but a lot more controlled, basically. Meanwhile, Hisada in front of him, he's attacking the corners, he's trying to build a bit more of a gap, so maybe he sees, okay, coming from the hairpin, that entire run to 130R, I'm more attackable there. If I get that little bit more of a gap there, in the meantime, then I can try and relax a little bit more. Cam Porter in the sandwich here for 13th place. Has to focus more on defending right now, I'd say.
I'd say a 13th place sandwich is something that is very superstitious, and Cam Porter looking to get out of that by finding the pass to 12th place through on Michael Grissinger, with Robert Plumley, the world of Kinducci, there, the Londoner just behind, looking to figure out a way by the Canadian and the Yank, who is there in position in front. Michael Grissinger on the brakes, looking to just hold his line. He's doing so very well. Cam Porter just having an quizzical look into the second part of Spoon there. That's how I break into that corner and get the run off the exit. Doesn't quite get the drive that he needs to get to Michael, but he's closing. Little wipe of the brow, which shows how very, very aggressive many, many drivers are having to be today here at Suzuka.
And as we guessed earlier, Hisada's pushing hard now again. 207.682, but Nieva also, and actually then all of the top four except for Carl Ridley running in the, well, Carl Ridley also running in the 207 highs.
Oh, Gary!
He's the only one. Oh my God!
Miles wide. Wow, he's somehow been able to just close the door down on John Olsen. He's taken advantage by doing so. And look at the way that he has to drive this Gary Ho. That is a full motion rig in VR. He has to find the H pattern shifter by muscle memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad because, you know, if you can see there, he's basically almost hitting it with his elbow when he turns in. So always a constant reminder where it is. But around this circuit in VR with the motion rig, that is absolutely insane.
It's mental, the things that Gary Ho does and the way that they go about trying to find their realism as they go. Nieva absolutely hounding the back of Togo Hisada. It doesn't matter that there was a fastest lap on that last lap. Togo is being pressurized here and he's going to have to go for it. Oh, Gary in trouble down at the Nissan brake hairpin, and he's gone around, and that will see him out of 8th place, and really not what he was hoping to find as he was going up to speed. Hisada's now got a bit of a gap, and for Gary, he was tagged from behind by John Olsen. Suddenly Kevin Verbruggen here is the one looking a little bit more aggressive now. He realizes he's got to make a pass first on Jorge Nieva if he wants to get and fight his championship rival, Togo Hisada.
The fight at the front, still very close. Cal Ridley dropped off slightly, but we do know that that gap can just melt away once these three start fighting. We get a quick replay. Yeah, that's Gary Ho's second excursion here. Now in 11th place, and let's have a look. Look down the inside, and yeah, got turned around. So I think a bit of a late move from the number 7, but yeah, just really unlucky for Gary Ho there. Obviously in VR, you're also reliant on the small mirrors on the sides of the 49, so not necessarily possible that you saw John Olsen in time there.
No, and John's just driven through him, which doesn't help things either, because you've got to try and just back out of it and allow him the opportunity to save it himself. John didn't, drove through him, caused the incident further, and it was the secondary contact rather than the first that did so. Look at the rotation there. You can see on the back feeding into the rear axle, the gearbox, and the differential that's in play. Kevin Verbruggen there, the bottom of the car, the tub basically, slamming against those high angle curbs there, those sawtooths on the outside of Degner, now working down in. You're just trying to find every little bit that you can, and almost it's got that space frame feel about it. It's a Colin Chapman car in every single sense. You take away the weight, you add lightness, and you go, okay, speed and lightness, that's the Colin Chapman way.
Yeah, so much so that back in the day here, they actually had to redesign parts of the car multiple times throughout 1967. First time this car actually raced at Zandvoort, it turned out that the gearbox housing wasn't resilient enough, so it actually started flexing itself apart over the duration of the race. Colin Chapman saw that, reportedly ran straight to his trailer, designed a new gearbox housing, and then after they were done in Zandvoort, he just went, well, right, guys, I'm driving over to ZF Friedrichshafen, and we're going to design a new gearbox housing with them.
Nuts. Amazing what you could do back in the day of, right, I'm just going to draw it and do it and go. Right now, in this modern day and age, I think you need about 35 committee meetings in order to get a part slightly redesigned. So ultimately, I love that can-do attitude that's there. 4 laps to go, though, here on lap 13 of 16. Hisada, Nieva Verbruggen, and Kyle Ridley now at 1.2 seconds, hoping for calamity from the front 3 in order for this race to turn a different direction as far as what he wants to go and deal with. So that's going to be the key as to where this race is going to go. But Hisada, for the first time, gets that to tick over half a second here. And I think Nieva has just got to get a little bit more aggressive now. He's got to find his way back, find that pass and say, look, I've got to get through. You can't give Togo at this phase of the race an opportunity to cool down. He's being given that at the moment. You just got to get in his grill.
Yeah, look at that, though. A lot of pushing into Degner, too. Now, very aggressive also again on that curb. I think he saved his tires a little bit, and now it's gotten to the point, final 4 laps to go. Jorge Nieva basically goes, okay, let's put this rubber that I saved to the test, and he's going to lift off the throttle when he crosses the line or when he's driving on rims, I feel. Because look at that gap instantly go down to 3/10, down to 2/10 in the middle of Spoon. And again, very, very early on the turn-in, takes the curb, then tries to straighten it out and minimize that slide, driving technically with a little bit less slip angle than Hesada, so his rear tires might be thanking him for that later on in this race as well. Coming through 130R, nose to tail, all three of them. Now, we had the gap earlier at almost 5/10. Now 5/10 stretch from P1 to P3. Hesada has to switch to the defensive once again as Nieva closes in. Verbruggen gets left slightly behind out of the last chicane. And now comes the slipstream. Hesada goes defensive. Nieva looks left, looks right, tries to go aggressive once again. And then again, Jesus Christ, he keeps just dipping a wheel slightly into the grass on the brakes. I don't have the bravery for that.
Togo does. He'll drive this car however he can. Nieva is forcing him to drive this one any way they can. They don't have to worry about the tyres burning out, but they do have to worry about the carcass temperature. They have to worry about the tyre temperature on the inside, most importantly. And so if you're saving the angle and the slip angle, your rear tyres have less temperature in them. You can use them a little bit more easily on the final laps. And Togo Hesada here is putting a lot of work into his tyres. He is really trying to get everything he can out of his all-terrain machine tyres that he's got on. It's Nieva, though, showing that he's got a little bit here with 3 laps to go. Does he look for it? Tyres in the grass, trying to find the angle. Not going to get there up the hill to the Nissan brake hairpin. Another opportunity goes astray, but Togo Hesada here struggling to get that through the middle of the corner, and Nieva having to wait for him to exit.
And this is the one thing, you know, getting close, getting past, that's always that difficulty. And especially with Hesada taking the racing line, taking the most momentum with it, right in front of Nieva. And you can see again and again the nose getting closer and closer, almost swallowing up those tailpipes of Hesada's Lotus 49 in front of him. And just getting that nose in next to him, though, that is the tricky part. And then keeping it there and then, well, keeping it pinned long enough. And oh my goodness, that is our F2 leader, I think. Yeah, that's Gary Ho actually getting involved with him now.
Oh, but you got to go back to the leaders now, with Gary now intent, because Nieva's got to the outside here, into the Astamo chicane, and he's going to try and hold it for the first time around the outside. Togo takes a big wider line. It's about who's got the power off the exit. Togo with the inside track is going to have the advantage initially, then it's get back into line. There's Kevin Verbruggen here with 2 to go, want to get himself involved. Nieva to the inside. Verbruggen to the outside, thinking about 3 wide, can't get there. Togo again later on the brakes, trying to hold the outside, try and get to the apex, why don't you, Jorge? And now he's going to get drive off the exit here. He's got almost clearance here, but Togo's not going to give this one up. Big wide line offered, and Nieva leads with a lap and a 3/4 to go.
He makes it stick, unbelievable. And Hesada for once actually has to pull back there. Still 2 laps to go to counter again, but Nieva, what a move! Unbelievable, and my God, almost touching again. But Verbruggen has to slightly avoid, loses a little bit of touch there, drops down to almost 4/10 back, and Hesada now desperately, all of a sudden, on the attack to try and regain that place.
Absolutely mental aggressive factor from Togo Hesada. He immediately looked to attack in a place you don't often see moves. The Nippo corner to the Nissan brake hairpin here with a lap and a half to go. Big wider line taken here by Nieva. Wants to prioritise corner exits here, Nico. Key here you're looking at right now. I think Kevin Verbruggen here, he's driven a wonderful race, but he's wrong place, wrong time.
But now he is. Still in a very good place. Oh, that's a car spinning off in front of them. No rejoins, please. Thank you very much. Everyone goes through pretty much unscathed, but still nose to tail. Once again coming out of Spoon, down the back stretch and towards that insanely fast 130R. Again, everyone dies for the slipstream, and almost we are at 1 lap to go. Hesada looks for the outside of 130R, but can't quite pull a Fernando Alonso just yet.
No, he's not quite there. So Astamo chicane, how brave are you on the brakes for the moment? nothing really to worry about, but they will have one lap to go, and Togo just basically right on the two exhaust tails there of Jorge Nieva, moving through to this final lap. Nieva is immediately over to the pit wall. Hisada now has got to be aggressive and bold if he wants to make this move. He knows how to make the outside stick, tries to work it once again. Car always on opposite lot as he tries to get through the corner, fighting on the rear wheel. Isn't going to get there. Nieva has held the best chance to go and make this move. Now Togo's got to be maybe clever here as he works through the S's section if he wants to get this race win for the third time in 4 races. Kevin Verbruggen, his main championship rival, wants to steal some points away if he can, and he's got to be very clever if he goes about it. It's about, do you want the victory or do you want to pick up table scrap? That's the way this is going. Nieva, quarter of a second to 3/10. They work out Nippo to the 2 Degners. Any one mistake is fatal at this stage of it. Through Degner 1, now heavy on the brakes into Degner 2. This is where Nieva's been the best through this section, so I don't think Togo Hisada's going to have a move up at the Nissan brake hairpin. Gets wide in the mirrors, trying to force Jorge Nieva to think about where he wants to go, and they're all tight on a line here as they work themselves through Nissan brake. Now they go to 200, and this is where you've got to start thinking about, do you have enough in the tank to go and close this down? Togo Hisada, the gap up to nearly 4/10 of a second. Has Nieva found this? Right place, right time. This spoon is going to be one of the most important that you're going to find. And at the moment, Jorge Nieva is saying, my dessert is sickly and sweet at this stage. Still 4/10. This is going to have to come down now to the Astamo chicane. Togo Hisada, as they climb up towards 130R, it's going to need to close, and he's already got half of that gap down on the brakes. He's really bringing that one close enough. This is going to have to be an almighty send to get this one sorted from 2/10 back. Here comes Togo, looking for it. Has he got a pick? No. Nieva has got there. Drive off the exit. No dice. No dice! Jorge Nieva is gonna get the job done at Suzuka. Verbruggen tries to steal one. He won't get there. Simply stellar here at Suzuka.
Unbelievable. Over and under twice in the final chicane, then attempting it again in the final corner. And just barely having to settle for P2. Incredible racing. Tamaladri brings it home in 5th against Olsen. Behind that, Josephine Becker comes across in the background in P7, then 8, 9, Olsen and Barton, then Gary Ho a little bit further back. That's one of the back markers that crossed the line with them. There's Gary Ho coming across the line.
And still there are battles to the line as Cam Porter in 12th does get his pass done on Plumley and Grissinger, so he'll be happy with the end result of that, and so he'll be saying, okay, points in my back pocket, when other drivers, for example, have found this one to be a really difficult circuit to go and get correct. Diego Schneider, one of them, with a spin. We will await for Jake Thomas in 21st position to be the last car in this field to come to the line. There goes Mats Linden, and so now we await the Australian Jake Thomas then to make that final push forward, as he has just locked a massive break then into the final chicane, but that will then mark the field as scored here from a very, very hard-fought Suzuka. Tough to pass today around here. And my, did you have to go and earn a victory. 34 minutes and 17 seconds. Goodness gracious, Jorge Nieva. What a way to get it done. Wins by 3/10 over Togo Hisada, and says that is more than the job done needed. Kevin Verbruggen will take the points in 3rd with Carl Ridley 4th, as Pedro Temaladri is 5th ahead of Laust Olsen in 6th. Josephine Becker and John Olsen make your 8, with Hisada on the fastest lap and the most laps led, but not with the victory. Kurt Clapper, your biggest gainer, with 7, and Marco Nermler, your biggest loser of positions, with 16.
Barton brought it across in 9th place. Gary Ho, after an eventful second half of the race, has to settle for 10th place. Then Thomas Sonny Sinner, the young man, coming in 11th place. He'll be happy with that. Cam Porter gains another position from his battle earlier on to finish in 12th. Then Michael Grisinger and Robert Plumley finish in 13th and 14th, only 4/10 apart as well. Then after that, we've got Kurt Klapper and Diego Schneider in 15th and 16th.
And so over the page where Alan Graham and David Mulligan find themselves then in 17th and 18th with Tobias Hernvey and Mats Linden then, both the Swedes, rounding out your top 20. Campbell Wallace we saw with the half spin earlier on, and then Angel Granda, who had the black flag in qualifying, ends up 22nd with Jake Thomas and David Provins then in 24th position, leaving the final 4 cars then laps down, which are Ryan Turcott, and then your retirees being Marco Nurmela and James Andrews from today's running. So, Nico, what an incredible race that we have been able to sit down and have. And I think the key to this has been, okay, this is a circuit where you need aerodynamic grip to absolutely start singing and finding the pace. When you only have mechanical grip available, it's one of the toughest scenarios in the world to deal with.
Yeah, as you said, you really want downforce here. It's unfortunate that these cars, in fact, generate lift. So it's an added challenge for sure. I mean, here, especially with these older bias-ply tires, you have grooves, you have basically all-weather tires, and accordingly also larger slip angles with the power-to-weight ratio that these things have. And honestly, seeing these cars enter as sideways as they did, with our winner actually constantly taking the entire width of the track and a little bit of grass to break into the corner, it was really, really something to see. And now we've got our first interview already with Jake, with our second place finisher who led for most of the race.
Absolutely. Togo Hisada here with me now. Fumetsu no Togo to Naro Tokoro Deshitaga. Tan ichi e no shinyu de wa Jorge Gasenko shite iru yo ni miemashita.
Yes, he's unbelievable fast for this week, and also Kevin. It's one of the most intense, high pressure race for me for my whole career this season, maybe my whole career. And looks like I'm a little bit off pace in actual race. Yeah, my car is a little bit too understeer on the some of the corners, and that was a huge effect for me the whole laps. And battle is so intense, and enjoy a lot.
Well, for those who don't understand Japanese, Togo the Immortal, it nearly was, but it looked like Jorge had the pass into turn 1. But the key really, Togo, you had the most laps led. Every lap you were having to find at least 2 places a lap to go and put the car in a position you didn't really want to put it into. Just how tough was it out there, having to just defend every position, every lap, every corner, and then when you needed to find that pass in the final 2, it was the turn of Jorge to just do the same.
I'm now unbelievably tired. It's I'm living near the Suzuka in real life, and of course I'm Japanese racer, so that I have knowledge about this track. So a little bit, have an advantage to defend or offend, in D3, but still, it's asking me a lot, and that's it. I'm really tired.
Well, I tell you what, you've given an absolute account of yourself, and you know how important it's going to be picking up these results. You take another crucial 4 points over Kevin Verbruggen, heading to the Saxon Ring next time out. So how are you feeling about taking that movement from round 4 podiums from 4, and saying, right, how do I keep making the championship easier and easier for me through the rounds?
Yeah, actually, I feel Kevin is even faster than me on this week, and maybe he's faster than me. With these new tires at now. So it's gonna be tight. My championship will be tight and tighter towards the end. I think it must be. And just focus myself. All I have to do is just practicing making setups, and find some rooms to improve. But it's gonna be really, really tough.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck in 7 days' time at the Saxon Ring, but Togo Hisada, the Emperor of the Lotus, gets second today on a hard-fought battle with this man, Jorge Nieva, who has got the job done. He's your third different race winner this season. He stood by with Nico Hillebrand.
Jorge Nieva, already with an insane recovery drive last time at Denadan. This time, a good qualifying, nothing going wrong on lap 1, except that the local hero got passed into turn 1, and then the attack started. Relentless attacking from you. What was the most difficult part of the race for you?
Well, keeping Togo behind is really difficult. I think I could only pass because I had some luck, and Togo and also Kevin were a bit faster, I think. But what a difficult task to keep Togo with all that speed in the 130R. He was really fast, and everywhere it was the hardest part.
Not just that. You were chasing for quite a while, but Bruggen actually started closing on both of you as well, while I think it was 6-7 laps to go when both of you just went side by side for the entirety of the lap until the end of the S's. Do you have to, in that moment, do you have to focus more on the attack or more on the defense in your head?
I was trying to defend the position because I didn't want to lose it to Kevin, because it's really difficult to pass, and if he had overtook me, it would have been more difficult to win, so I didn't want to lose position by any chance.
Yeah, fantastic driving from you for sure, though. Always placing the car in just the correct way, always placing the car to put more and more pressure on Togo Hisada. Not getting the fastest lap, but getting that position back just before the end, and with what an absolutely astonishing move as well. So congratulations on a well-deserved win.
I want to apologize to Togo if I was a bit hard on any moments, like in the last corner of the last lap. I think maybe I was in the middle of the track and he couldn't pass. So sorry, Togo. I didn't want to.
So even though they're fighting with their knives between their teeth, still very humble, very apologetic even for the fight, to make sure that, you know, everything was fair. But honestly, watching from the outside, I think everything was fair. And what a mindset, though. Absolutely beautiful to see that here.
Yeah, that is the spirit that they want to have. Clean battling, they want to have effective battling, and they want it to be so good. And it is more than just the first time this season that we've seen battles go all the way down to the wire, and we will have so much more amazing battling that will come along in 7 days' time as we head over to Saxony-Anhalt and the Saxon Ring, which will come on up next for championship battling action here in the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends as part of a Genesis Extreme production. You can catch that 1:30 UTC, 9:30 AM Eastern if you want to get yourself in on that, as well as all of the other amazing shows that are coming up, because later on today, IMSA Vintage will be running over from Watkins Glen. Tomorrow, it is an absolutely epic affair of a battling out on the Nordschleife for Classic Lotus Grand Prix. The Porsche's Owners Club, Monday or Tuesday, depending on where you are in the world, is going to be going there from Silverstone, and then Queen City will be driving about at Spa. From the entire team here that's brought this show together to you, from Nico Hillebrand alongside me, Daniel Costello in the director's chair, and the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. My name has been Jake Sperry. A championship battle that meant so much at the 1/3 stage of the season. A home race, a critical race, a must-win race for everyone who was in that group if they wanted to stamp a mark of authority down. It was a day in which Verbruggen was basically iced out, never saw a chance. Carl Ridley saw himself slowly fade off the back on what is his best season that he has had to date in Lotus 49s. Togo Hisada needed that one. He just was a couple laps shy in getting the result that he wanted, because with one race that is already a drop, it's Jorge Nieva who is saying once again, I am so sick and tired of being a bridesmaid. Give me my wins. Give me my shot. Give me my title. And the Ava proving once again that drivers like Togo Hisada are going to be very tough to beat if you have to do that every week to go and get a dub. We'll see you at the Saxon Ring.
This is iRacing.